Welcome back, everyone. Let's meet the starting goaltenders. Brought to you, as always, by Tim Hortons, the official copy of the NHL. Devan Dubnyk makes his 5th start in a row. He is 2-1-1 in his last 4. Looks for his first career win against Carolina. At the other end, 29-year-old Cam Ward. Well, he's given up 11 goals in his last 3 games. He's 3-1-1 on the road this year. He was not in the nets last night as Carolina dropped a 2-0 decision to the Vancouver Canucks. It was Justin Peters who took that loss. The second time this year that the Carolina Hurricanes have been shut out, and we are underway. Jordan Eberle, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and David Perron will start up front. We're going to go back down into Carolina territory.
Always interesting, Kevin, to look at what matchup Dallas Eakins will have at home. He just decided to go with his top centerman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, against the Eric Staal line. So we'll look for that matchup throughout this game. And obviously with Jordan Staal in the mix as well for Carolina now, it's the 1-2 punch that you have to worry about matching up against. And Nugent-Hopkins is getting the task of going up against the big captain for Carolina.
Starting lineups brought to you by Boston Pizza, your hockey headquarters destination. Eberle with a backhand that hits the side of the net. Andrew Ference is at the point. He is playing with Philip Larson. No Jeff Petrie in this game tonight. Here is Ference. Good job to keep it in. Nugent-Hopkins goes down for Perron. David Perron being watched by the captain. Perron gets a shot away, but it goes wide. Perron with 12 goals on the season. He leads the Oilers in that department. Here's Eberle. Eberle circles the net, tries to wrap around. Ward gets the pad down. Ference trying to keep it in against Tomo Ruutu. Good job by Perron to keep it in at the point. Here's an opportunity for Larson down low, and it went right by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in the blue paint. Oilers with a great start to this game.
Awesome first shift, Kevin, by the big line of Edmonton to get a puck in deep and cycle it down low. I like the fact they're attacking the blue paint on a regular basis and a couple real high-quality chances on Cam Ward.
Louis talked about the 1-2 punch. It's out there now, and it's Jordan Staal who anchors that second line for the Hurricanes. It includes this guy, Nate Gerby, and rookie Elias Lindholm, number 16. Gerby brings it in. Nate Gerby dances in. His shot goes right through. Taylor Hall, second star in the NHL this week, is on the ice with Sam Gagner and Nail Yakupov. Jordan Staal gets stopped up. There's a great opportunity now for Hall. Moving in, scores. Taylor Hall. A minute 33 into the hockey game. Taylor Hall stays hot, and the Oilers have a 1-0 lead.
And you know, Kevin, this is what can happen when you start with a real solid first shift, get into the offensive zone. The line that comes on the ice after wants to follow it up. And right here, just a little giveaway through the neutral zone. Good step up there by Schultz to deny the entry into the offensive zone. Sam Gagner with a nice little dish here to Taylor Hall, knowing that he has speed. So after this puck is shoveled by Yakupov over to Gagner, right to Taylor Hall with speed. He zings it quickly. A nice hard shot beating Cam Ward in the glove hand side for a 1-0 lead.
A minute 33 into the contest. Taylor Hall ties David Perron for the team lead in goals. He's got 12. And Yakupov picks up one of the helpers along with Justin Schultz. And the Oilers strike first from a 1-0 lead, taking advantage of a team from Carolina that got into the city at 2 a.m. last night. Ward makes a save, has to try and make another one. Joensuu back in the lineup, trying to make his presence felt. Jesse Joensuu did not dress the last 2. Out there now, he gets the puck in deep. That allows the fourth line to get out there. That includes Anton Lander, Luke Gazdic, and Ryan Jones. Ryan Smith, a healthy scratch tonight as Jones brings it in, tries to split the defense, gets pushed off the puck there by Ron Hainsey. Jones circles, tries to stuff it home. Ward freezes it, now it comes loose, and it's picked up there by the former Oiler, Radek Dvorak. Kevin Westgard will dump that puck in. Manny Malhotra is going to go after it. Malhotra makes a bump there from Larson. Westgard in there as well. He'll get that puck free from Lander, but he gets double teamed, and here's Larson around the boards. He gets it to the captain Ference. Off the boards, gets by Gazdic. That line wants to make a change, and they will. Nugent-Hopkins, Perron, and Eberle back on the ice. The Oilers with all the shots in this first period. They've got 5. Carolina does not have 1. Ward takes it around the boards, and here is Eberle on the intercept. Nugent-Hopkins lets it go by. Perron took it away from Eric Staal and then took a bump from the Carolina captain. Perron stays with it, though, trying to get that puck free, keeping it in the Carolina end. Skinner gets backtracked by Nugent Hopkins.
It's a nice urgency early on in this game by Edmonton. Again, the line here of Nugent Hopkins, Eberle, and Perron getting a puck in deep, Kevin, and then cycling. When they lose the puck, good battle by Perron to get it back once again. So repossession and keep the attack alive.
And another quick line change gets the goal scorer on the ice with Yakupov and Gagne. Schultz. They'll give it to Belov. Belov gets knocked down by Lindholm. Dubnyk leaves it behind the net, comes around to the near side. Taylor Hall is there. Taylor Hall trying to push it forward, kept in by Falk. Belov chops it behind the net. Justin Schultz will take it. Schultz right up the middle for Gagne to Hall. Belov keeps the play alive. Hall's got it now. Nice move to get around Sekera. The puck sits there for Gerby. He runs into Yakupov. And we take a look now at the keys to the game, brought to you by the 2013 Ford Super Duty. It's built Ford tough.
Well, for the Edmonton Oilers, the Carolina Hurricanes are a team that really aggressively forecheck in the offensive zone. So that first pass out of the zone has to be tape to tape. We saw a good first pass there by Yakupov on a turnover. It led to a goal. And for the Carolina Hurricanes, it's funnel everything to the net. They're a big team. They have some big forwards that can get into that blue paint and make it difficult for Devan Dubnyk to see that puck. And that's something that they would like to do a little bit more often, is get the puck into the offensive zone. Kirk Muller wants that funneling to the net on a regular basis.
Just one shot for the Hurricanes so far. We've got 15:37 to go in this first period. Yoan Su, along with Hemsky and Arcabello. Leeson sends that puck down the ice. Ferentz or Hemsky's going to tip it in. Leeson chops at it. He'll get it to Radek Dvorak. Dvorak goes cross ice for Skinner. He can't control that bouncing puck, and it's brought back in on the offside. Well, we've got some prizes to give away, so the owners get on the board. On behalf of Safeway in the Score and Win contest, General Mills Cheerios, Louise McPherson of Sherwood Park has won a DVD prize pack from E1. On the goal by Taylor Hall, his 12th of the year.
Well, Taylor Hall, as you mentioned, Kevin, last week's second star in the National Hockey League, and these are some of the numbers that got him their hat trick on Thursday versus Colorado's fourth career hat trick, and 4 goals, 6 points in his last 3 games. He's added another goal in this one tonight to start things off here for Edmonton.
And Nail Yakupov came into the game without a point in his last 7. He gets an assist, and he's got 6 on the year. Justin Schultz now has 9 helpers, and the Oilers have a 1-0 lead. These two teams will not meet again until March 16th, and that game will be in Carolina. Back to the point it comes, and it gets by Gleason. Lander in a race, but it is Ward who will sweep it around the boards to Harrison. He'll give it back to Gleason. Trying to poke it by Jones, can't do it. Back to the point, there's Belov shot, and he rips it wide. Corey Potter is his D partner. Perron takes it in the corner. To the point to Belov. Anton Belov looks behind the net for Jones. Jones again sweeps it out in front, and it went right by David Perron. Belov.
A couple of good opportunities in front of Cam Ward there. That one little sweep around by Ryan Jones, little fly by Perron, and the Oilers might want to have that permanent presence in front of them. There's a lot of pucks are funneling into that blue paint.
Good defensive play there by Nick Schultz, but carrying on is Stahl. Gets it to Falk, who is activated. He gets trapped in the corner. Back to the point. There's Ruutu's shot. That doesn't make it through. An opportunity for Eric Stahl. He gets tripped up, though. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is going to head to the penalty box, and the first power play will go to Carolina. Oh, Stahl goes down, and Nugent-Hopkins is headed to the box.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins looking at the stick that caused him to take a 2-minute minor for hooking. Another Ryan Jones is in the lineup tonight, even though it may have looked like that wouldn't be the case yesterday at practice. This is him getting help from teammates Anton Lander and Ryan Smith and Anton Belov with a little tap of the shin pads. It was a shot by Belov that felled Ryan Jones, and so 24 hours later, this is Ryan Jones this morning wearing the skate protectors to help make sure that he doesn't get injured again from a potential slap shot. And Louis, did you ever wear them, or you preferred not to?
No, I never did. They didn't have those back when I played, I don't think. That little pimped up skates right there that Ryan Jones is wearing. And he said that one really stung yesterday, Gene. You know, some of them you can shrug off. It's like a little bit of a thumping, but that one there floored him and knocked the wind out of him. Beloff can really shoot it.
He is out there for this penalty kill. Carolina 0 for 4 in Vancouver last night. Power play that is ranked 17th on the road. The Oilers, the 8th best penalty killers at home in the league, as Skinner goes cross-ice, tipped in front. Ruutu a second chance and he scores. Tomo Ruutu ties the game. A power play goal for Carolina.
And just a simple play here. Nice little redirection by Ruutu, the first opportunity, and a real good save by Devin Dubnyk because this one had some steam on it. The shot from the point, redirected right on net, and somehow he just stands there and it comes back out to him. I don't know if it's a rebound or a clearing. So nice little workaround by the Hurricanes to set up the shot. Watch this redirection right there by Tomo Ruutu. He follows it up on the rebound and bangs it home very quickly. So pretty hard to defend against that. He steps out into the open ice, gets a piece of that one, and then follows it up with the rebound. So a little clearing attempt, I think, by Schultz, just trying to dig it out of there. And Ruutu's in the right spot and ties this game.
Tomo Ruutu has 4 goals on the season. Came into this game without a goal in his last 7 games. And gets his team on the board. And Eric Stahl and
well, Kevin, you know, the power play just goes to work early. It was Skinner, walks it off the wall, gets the shot through, and good job by Ruutu there. After the first redirection gets stopped, he just stays in that zone and has quick hands to snatch that puck up and bury it.
Another long shot gets deflected off the pad of Devin Dubnyk. The 9th road power play goal for the Carolina Hurricanes. Dirty shot is stopped by Justin Schultz, and away comes Hall. Hall's got Gagner with him. Drop pass for Gagner. Gagner throws it towards the net. Blocker save. Here's Hall in the wraparound. That was deflected by Ryan Murphy. And Murphy comes away with the puck. Murphy works his way to center. He'll give it to Gerby. Gerby with Jordan Stahl. Now Murphy turns. Being watched by Yakupov. Comes to the near side. Lindholm. He is stripped of the puck there by Schultz. They both battle for it. It comes loose and Gagner's got it. And Gagner just uses the glass and gets that puck out.
This is a replica of the remote that inspired the big win. The original was tragically lost in a couch.
Pick your winners today with Pools.
Kevin had a good conversation, you and I, right before the game with Kirk Muller, and liking what he's seen from his team, the way they've battled, the way they've stayed in games, and obviously have been injury prone this year. Some real key elements out of the lineup for them. Will be very happy when he gets all his fresh bodies back. But nonetheless doing pretty well in his first full season behind the bench as the head coach of Carolina.
19 years in the National Hockey League, almost 960 points. I think he's going to command a little respect.
Yeah, one of my favorite players to watch too. Played both ends of the ice, was a competitor. And it looks like he's brought that intensity into the head coaching position for the Hurricanes. This is a team that works real hard, and that's one of the things that Dallas Eakins even picked up about Kirk Muller's team, is that they do not relent. They aggressively pursue, they attack in the offensive zone, and we've seen that a little bit already early in this game. And that's the way this guy right there played the game for 19 seasons in the National Hockey League.
This is the second game of a 4-game road trip for the Hurricanes. All of 4 games will be against Pacific Division foes. They'll be in Calgary on Thursday, Phoenix on Saturday. They are 2-4-1 so far against the Pacific Division. Swept back in by Jay Harrison. Andrew Ference sees that puck go by his defensive partner Larson, but no harm done. Here's Perron moving in with Eberle. Eberle's shot goes up high, and Cam Ward ducks to get out of the way. Perron to the middle. Nugent Hopkins with it. He'll snap a shot. Ward the save. Nugent Hopkins picks up his own rebound. Great pass to Perron. David Perron from the corner to the middle for Nugent Hopkins, who knocks it down, takes a backhand and almost put it home. Now he'll try a wraparound. Holds onto it for another second. His backhand goes just wide. What a shift for Nugent Hopkins. Perron and Eberle.
All over. Ryan Nugent Hopkins with a couple of terrific chances. All set up with a little stretch to Perron. And he finds Eberle wide with speed, and that set the whole shift off.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with 16 assists leads the team in helpers. Perron winds, fires a slap shot. That went off Jay Harrison, but it comes to Arcabello. He centers it quickly. But it is Westgard to Dvorak. Dvorak to Malhotra. The fourth line for the Hurricanes up there now. Kevin Westgard. Down the boards it goes. Hemsky waiting for it on the far side to try to chop it by Sekera. Potter to Belloff. To Arcabello. Through the middle. It's chipped to center. And then fired right back in by big number 8. Westgard, 6'4", 234 pounds. And his father-in-law is kind of famous. It's Bill Cower. Joensuu, he fires his shot, but Gerby got his stick in the way. Quick on it to try and keep it in. He does. Arcabello played it off one of the Hurricanes, and it is Gerby who comes to center. Nate Gerby. He'll push it deep, chase it himself. Belloff cuts him off. Gerby, 5'5", 178 pounds.
I just love the way he plays the game, though. He gets in there, he's not afraid to get his nose dirty, and has a terrific set of hands around the net as well. But a good shift earlier on by the line of Eberle, Nugent-Hopkins, and Perron getting a puck in deep. All from a quick little transition. They cycle it down low. Nugent-Hopkins, great hand-eye coordination to knock this one down, take it to the net. Good save by Ward. But then he takes it through the traffic once again. And watch this little sneaky backhand. He gets away. It just misses wide. So a good shift down low by them to generate those chances. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with the puck on a string tonight.
Ball racing after it, but he's cut off there by Ryan Murphy. Yakupov almost stole it away from Jordan Staal. Staal now with Lindholm. Across the blue line. Jordan Staal throws it towards the net. Schultz got a stick in front of it. And Justin Schultz tips it up into the netting. Rogers Oilers hockey right here on Sportsnet.
Well, Jesse Joensuu returning to the Edmonton Oilers lineup tonight, and he does something that, he's always done, but has taken with him from playing overseas in Finland here to North America. His skates as he gets ready to go out on the ice, but what he does is he's got the skate guards underneath. He's concerned about the damage being done to his blades, so he wears them all the way to when he gets on the ice, and when he gets off the ice, he'll put those guards on.
Wow.
Again, he wants to make sure that his skates last and they don't have a premature finish.
That is being particular. Just 11 with that back. And Coach Dallas Aikens said that it kind of put him behind. You know, you're trying to fit in with a new team. Came over, remember he was with the Islanders and trying to fit in, but it's tough when you get hurt.
Yeah, especially with a back injury when you're a big man like Joensuu, and to go out there and wants to play that physical brand, wants to bang bodies and drive along the wall. And very difficult to do. Saw him doing a lot of extra work. You know, trying to limber up the back and make sure that he maintained that strength and balance there. And back in the lineup wants to do just those things.
Justin Schultz hammers a shot, and that one hit defenseman Ryan Murphy. Joensuu. Back to the point it comes, and Nick Schultz unable to keep it in at the point. Hemsky turns, and he's just shoved there by Tulowitzki. Gagne to Schultz. As the Carolina Hurricanes make changes, here is Schultz going wide on Hainsey. Tries to bank it in. Yakupov looking for the rebound as well. Veteran Ron Hainsey plays it off the boards and gets it out to center.
I like that play there by Justin Schultz, getting up in the rush, knowing that it was a line change waiting for fresh bodies.
Yakupov scores. Taylor Hall set him up, and Nail Yakupov finishes it off. It's 2-0. Nail Yakupov, Louis came in without a goal in his last 8, so you know he's feeling good about this.
And his first 5-on-5 goal of the year, so you know he's feeling really good about that. And it looks pretty simple. This kid can shoot the puck. And again, here's the rush by Schultz that allows everybody to get onto the ice. So fresh bodies on the ice. It was Yakupov with a nice little play off the side of the wall. As this puck comes through, little pick off by Ference. Transition once again. Watch Taylor Hall beat the defenseman to this puck. He finds Yakupov in the high slot, and it's not a big boomer. It's a quick release into the back of the net, kind of sneaks through the wickets of Cam Ward for a 2-1 lead.
Hall and Ference get the assist at 11:04, and for Nail Yakupov came into this game without a point in his last 7. Well, he's got 2 so far on the night. And Taylor Hall continuing on his hot streak. a 4-game point streak that has produced 8 points so far. And the Oilers take back the lead. Here they come again. Nugent Hopkins with Perron and Eberle. David Perron with a button hook. He'll drop it to Eberle. Play it back to the point. Ferentz is waiting for it. Ferentz, long shot. That one goes wide. Andrew Ferentz picks up his first assist in an Oiler uniform. And his first in 38 games. Long outlet pass off the skate of Jeff Skinner. He took a shot there from Larson, and he's a little bit slow going back to the Carolina bench. Anton Langer on a steal. Centers for Eberle. Jiri Tlusty will flip it in. Anton Belov gets there first. Langer trying to help out behind the net. Puck still alive. Radek Dvorak in there as well. And the puck comes to Lusty back to the point. Here is Gleason. To the corner it goes. Manny Malhotra behind the net. Malhotra works it back to Gleason at the point. He'll throw it towards the net. Tlusty try to get a piece of it. Malhotra throws it towards the cage, and that one goes just wide. Belov around the boards for Jones, and that gets by Ryan Jones. And that's going to be an icing call against the Edmonton Oilers. Well, the Oilers' second goal of the game, our next score and win winner, courtesy of Safeway and General Mills Cheerios, is Sherry Martineau of St. Albert. She's won the Garmin Newbie 2597 LMT GPS. Congratulations to Sherry on the goal by Nail Yakupov. And as Louis mentioned, his first 5-on-5 goal of the season. The Edmonton Oilers have taken a timeout
on that icing call line to ensure they have fresh bodies on the ice with a 2-1 lead. And you talked about Nail Yakupov in the season that he's had here last year, led the team in goals, and has had some difficulties getting on a stretch. And the consistency factor here this year in the hot and cold aspects of the season for him, you can see the points have come and gone. And a nice time for him to break out of a little bit of a cold stretch here. Pointless in his last 7 games with his first 5-on-5 goal. And we've seen what this kid can do when he heats up and gets streaky. They seem to come in bunches.
He assisted on Taylor Hall's goal at 1:33 in, and then Taylor Hall returned the favor at 11:04.
And that's important too, for Dallas Eakins trying to find some chemistry amongst the lines, and they shuffled things around, put Yakupov with Gagne and Hall, Nugent Hopkins, Eberle, and Perron. So when you're getting those contributions from the different line combinations, it's nice to see that. You can find that chemistry.
On the face-off. Getting spun around and knocked down was Anton Belov by Jordan Staal. Play continues. And Ron Hainsey will pick it up back in his own zone. 10 shots for the Oilers, 4 for Carolina in a 2-1 hockey game. The Oilers will have Boston here on Thursday, and then they're going to hit the road. They'll play against Vancouver on Friday. And that one's coming back into the other end.
If you drive on snow and ice, you don't want all-season tires. You want all-weather tires. Get Nokian's most advanced all-weather tire, the WRG3 at Cal Tire.
The Oilers outshot Calgary 31-27. Carolina, they outshot Vancouver 31-26, and both teams did not get the 2 points. The Oilers with 10 so far here, and we've got 6:48 left to go in the first period. Taylor Hall, Gagne got Yakupov in front. He'll give it to Hall instead in the corner. Hall gives it right back to Sam Gagne. Gagne being watched there by Sekera. And Sekera pushes it to Eric Staal. Quick pass to Tomo Ruutu, the goal scorer for the Carolina Hurricanes. Leaves it for Skinner. Skinner fakes the shot. Now he'll walk in, and a great blocker save by Devin Dubnyk.
A real tricky move there by Skinner. Just a little fake slap shot. A little 10-2 from his figure skating days to walk into the high slot. He can really zing it. And it was a good shot. 31 goals in his rookie year to win the Calder Trophy with the Carolina Hurricanes. And starting to heat up here. Scored his first career hat trick a couple games ago, and right there the fake, little 10-2, finds the open lane and zings it. High blocker on Dubnyk.
Hayden has 6 points in his last 4 and missed 11 games this season with what many think was a concussion.
They're pretty quiet in that regard. Obviously, with a young player, don't want to really let that be known.
Here's a giveaway. Hemsky took it away from Gleason, and Gleason recovers with a little help from his D partner, Jay Harrison.
Good job by Gleason to stay in that battle. Hemsky was gone, it looked like. He's got to stick in there.
A bouncing puck for Patrick Dwyer. Dwyer being watched by Larson. And there to help out is Wiley Nash, a former draft pick of the Edmonton Oilers, who was eventually traded for a pick that turned into Martin Marincin. Back to the point, Harrison fires it towards the net. It's deflected by Dwyer just wide. Taluski's on it. Back to the point, here's Gleason. Gleason waits, now he'll throw it through traffic, and that goes wide. Alashensky wants to relieve the pressure, can't do it. Harrison whips that puck towards the net, and another wide shot allows the Oilers to get it out.
And that's on purpose, Kevin. You mentioned that wide shot by the Hurricanes. We've seen it numerous times already in this first period. Little redirections by the forwards. They're looking for those shots from the blue line. Good job by the forwards of Carolina. They get into position, redirect it towards the net. A couple good saves by Dubnik. That's how they got the first goal in the power play. It was a redirection first, followed up by the rebound.
Jones and Gazdic across the blue line. Ryan Jones to a sharp angle, but Malhotra got a stick in the way. Anton Lender lost it to Malhotra, gets it right back again. Jones in the corner. Ryan Jones under pressure. Malhotra will give it to Hainsey. It gets by him. It's going to be Kevin Westgard taking a bump there from Gazdic. Water races over, throws it towards the net. Gazdic is right there. Gazdic comes together with Malhotra as the fourth line. Gets this puck in. And the Oilers win the battle of the fourth lines.
A lot of meat down there.
Potter goes right up the middle, and Jones deflects it into the end of his shift. 4 minutes, 24 seconds to go here in the first period. Schultz, there's a slap pass that Perron deflected just wide. Gerby flips it in. Lindholm going after. Elias Lindholm taken overall in 2013. And Luki this year became the youngest Swede ever to score a goal.
Yeah, just turned 19 years of age.
Sekera trying to keep it in, but Eberle says no. The other way. Nugent Hopkins with the now. Ryan Nugent Hopkins. He gets checked there by Justin Falk. And Gerby starts back the other way. He's got Jordan Stahl with Larson took the puck away, flips it off a stanchion, and it comes right to Yakupov, moving in one-on-one. Here's Yakupov against Murphy. Yakupov, head on a swivel. Shifty moves as he tried to get it back to the point, but he was cut off there by Eric Stahl.
Two guys that saw each other quite a bit in their junior days.
Luchu with a hit. Yakupov picks it up, and he just flips that puck high to center. Hall settles underneath it. Taylor Hall with a button hook. There goes cross ice for Gagne to the middle. Here's Yakupov, and he hammered it off the post. Gagne looking forward to the side of the net. Oh, Gagne set up Yakupov for a huge one-timer that he rattled off the iron.
Boy, I like that little tic-tac-toe, and I like the fact that it was all set up and put it into motion on a good little drive by Taylor Hall. Finds Gagne late, and a one-timer by Yakupov off the bar.
Nail Yakupov with 2 points already. Sam Gagne sets him up for that one-timer. Little Ovi type there, bringing off the post. Very much, Gene, as you take a look at Andrew Ference, and he has made an impact in this community, is also not only helping kids in the inner city, but also with the environment, recycling, reusing. And he's got an apple right now. He is first in an Oiler uniform.
Well, time to play Safeway's $1 million score and win. If any Oilers player scores 5 goals in tonight's game, Barbara Young of Stony Plain could win $1 million. Shop and swipe at Safeway, and you could be our next lucky winner right here on Sportsnet. And Kevin, peppermint tea and honey, I'm being told, hot water and cayenne pepper, oil of oregano and water, and ginger root and lemon. Some of the remedies you might be able to use to help you feel better. I know you're not feeling that bad.
Thanks, man.
I know you're struggling with your voice, so keep it up. People appreciate your effort tonight on an evening when you're not feeling as good as you usually do.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for everybody. And that's going to be one potent cocktail.
I think it sounds good. It's a little Barry White in you.
Hello. 2:38 to go here in the first period. The Oilers out shooting the Carolina Hurricanes 11-5 to this point. And we saw Jesse Joensuu driving the net, and that's what he has to do.
Yeah, a couple sixes going at it there. Took a little throw down by Tim Gleason afterwards, but good to see him driving the blue paint.
Here's a 2-on-1 Gerby. And Dvorak broken up neatly there by Nick Schultz. Ales Hemsky comes back the other way with Arcavello and Joensuu. Cuts to the middle. Moving in is Hemsky. Look at that, dancing in, and Cam Ward robs him at the last minute. Two guys that came together in the 2006 Stanley Cup Final, and Ales Hemsky almost gave the Oilers a 3-1 lead.
I mean, that's what you call dancing with the puck, and I think one too many moves for Ales Hemsky. Had the backhand wide open, tried to draw to the forehand, but boy, did he ever have on a string there.
Ales Hemsky on a 5-game point streak coming into this one. The Oilers with 12 shots, 7 of them scoring chances. Eberle, quick shot there by Nugent Hopkins, and he scores. Ryan Nugent Hopkins makes it a 3-1 game.
This line's been really good for the Edmonton Oilers early in this game, and Ryan Nugent Hopkins all over it. And what a great quick release this is by Hopkins, who's been starting to shoot the puck a lot more often. And this one here all off the transition. It's Ference once again, a good hard drive into the offensive zone, aggressive forecheck, turns the puck over, and perfect pass by Eberle allows Nugent Hopkins to get this away pretty quickly. And that's exactly what he does, up under the bar for a 3-1 lead for Edmonton. Ryan Nugent Hopkins, 7th of the season.
And for Ryan Nugent Hopkins, his first goal in his last 5 games coming in. Jordan Eberle and Andrew Ference. Ference didn't have an assist in an Oilers uniform, and he's got 2 now.
Hey, who says dumping the puck in isn't a good thing to do? That's 2 dump-ins by Ference that have been retrieved by his forwards, and thanks to them, he gets an assist on both. So getting the puck in deep does good things.
Here comes Larson. He'll let a shot go, and Ward, way out of his net, makes the save. 17-14, the time of the goal. And the Oilers with a 3-1 lead. These teams haven't come together in this building since December the 7th, 2011. The Oilers lost that game 5-3, but they've won 2 of the last 3 meetings here in Edmonton. We're under a minute. The Oilers dominating on the shot clock as well, 13-6. Nash to Dwyer. Broken up neatly there by Larson. And Arcobello comes back to help as well. Johansson, his pass intended for Ales Hemsky didn't work. Dwyer at center. Talusti. Off the end board. Out in front it comes, and Talusti could not get a good shot away.
Well, that was a good chance right there, too. And almost like Dwyer had eyes in the back of his head. He needs Talusti, who's going to be right there in the slot. A no-looker right to him, and it just bounces over his stick.
10 seconds to go in the period. And that's going to come back with 6.7 seconds. That'll give us a chance to give away some more prizes by swiping a free club card. Adele Peters of St. Albans won the Hoover Wind Tunnel Multi-Cyclonic Bagless Canister, and that's all courtesy of Safeway and General Mills Cheerios. Congratulations, Adele. And that is Ryan Nugent Hopkins' 7th goal of the season. And I think the other thing he's proud of is the fact that he went 17-8 in the faceoff circle in the game against Calgary, and that's something he's working on.
Yeah, they're working on it as an entire team. And something that Coach Aikens was telling us this morning, how they're having video sessions to go over that, and it's starting to pay off.
And the Oilers strike 3 times in that first period, Jeff Merrick, and they take a 2-goal lead into the second period. Send it back to you guys.
And no matter what anyone does in this broadcast, you, sir, Kevin, are the first star of it. The only thing Gene left out, by the way, of that medicinal brew, probably a couple of fingers of scotch. That tip from our man, Marty McSorley. Coming up this intermission, Marty breaks down Taylor Hall. He remains hot. And John Shannon saying the Oilers need to get back to basics. Job accomplished in the first 20. Stay tuned. Here comes the first intermission.
Look at downtown Edmonton, and the Oilers going downtown on 3 occasions against the Carolina Hurricanes, and as a result, it is the Oilers that lead the Canes by a couple through 20 minutes of play. Sportsnet magazine features our 3rd annual awards issue, including the most amazing moments of national pride to the wildest conspiracy theory. Plus, we unveil Sportsnet's Canadian Athlete of the Year. Subscribe to Sportsnet magazine now at sportsnet.ca/magazine. And I'm just having a quick look at the first period summary on the part of the Edmonton Oilers. We know Taylor Hall has a couple of assists. Nail Yakupov with a goal and an assist in San Gagne. The rest of the Edmonton Oilers who are heading out for period number 2. Number 9 has 1 assist. Back in 2000, the Oilers had every team off to have 3 picks in the first round, and it was Sam Gagner out of the London Knights, who was chosen 6th overall by Edmonton. And then at 15, a little closer to home, defenseman Alex Plante, who at that time was playing for the Calgary Hitmen. And then the Oilers in the 21st slot went for another forward, that being Riley Nash, who's currently playing for the Carolina Hurricanes. Those were the 3 picks in that first round. We know who's done the best so far.
I remember, after you get picked, they kind of take down below and you do pictures and kind of everything. And I knew that Edmonton had 3 picks in the first round, so I was kind of waiting to see who was going to be part of my draft class. And obviously an exciting time for myself and for everyone involved there. You want to try and elevate your draft class as much as you can, and we've had guys that have done that. And you want to make sure that people talk about your draft class as a good one. So I think everyone that's been drafted kind of has that focus, and hopefully they can continue to keep doing that.
And what a career it has been for Sam Gagner. 433rd game as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. Louis and Kevin Point, number 268, coming in that first period of play. Of course, Riley Nash playing for Carolina. The 3rd member of that first-round class, Alex Plante, playing in Austria currently.
All right, Gene, thanks very much. The first period scoring summary brought to you by Worley Parsons Cord. Visit worleyparsons.com/careers to find your place on our team.
Well, as Taylor Hall, Kevin, got things started real early for the Edmonton Oilers. 133 in from Gagner and Yakupov. Ruutu tied it up 1-1, then Yakupov and Nugent Hopkins regained the lead 3-1. That's how it stands heading into this second period.
At the end of the first period, you talked about face-offs, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins won 4 of the 6 heat, and he wins another one there. It is a focus for the Edmonton Oilers, especially without Boyd Gordon in the lineup. Nugent-Hopkins up pass for Perron is picked off there by Eric Staal. Ruutu, the only goal scorer for Carolina. His shot is blocked by Andrew Ference. You saw that Andrew Ference with 2 assists on the night so far. Nugent-Hopkins to the pass to Eberle off his skate, and it comes to Andrei Sekera. Off the boards for Skinner. He's got Eric Staal in front. Pops it back for Ruutu instead. He couldn't get a shot away, and here comes Yakupov. Nail Yakupov getting that opportunity to play with this guy. Hall moving in. Hall gets by Hainsey, tried to center, who was picked off there by Jordan Staal. It's Skinner now. Lindholm. Murphy, his shot stopped. Another one stopped, and this one off the stick of Jordan Staal, and here we go back the other way with Yakupov and Gagner. Yakupov gets backtracked, and the puck stolen away by Nathan Gerbe. The Carolina Hurricanes, Louis, are 3rd in the league in takeaways.
That was a great effort there by Gerbe to come back and break up that potential 2-on-1. So that's what hard work and effort do for you. And as you mentioned, the Hurricanes are a real good team at taking pucks away and not relenting. So one chance down at one end, it's Murphy, and you can see the speed of him jumping up in his first year of pro hockey, getting a good chance away. Yakupov looks like he's off to the races. Watch Gerbe just put his head down, start skating, doesn't stop until he lifts the stick and picks the pocket of Yakupov. That's good defensive hockey right there.
Eric Staal leads the way. He is 3rd in the league in takeaways. There's some guy in Detroit who leads the league in takeaways. He does that every year.
Came back tonight. Actually scored in his return to Pavel Datsyuk. So head no worse for wear.
Arcabello behind the net, out in front, and there is Ricky Joensuu, his 2nd goal of the season. And the Oilers are pouring it on. It's 4-1.
Well, there's a theme here, Kevin. Every time a puck gets in deep here for Edmonton, it usually results in either a chance or puck possession, and it results in another goal here. We've already seen it twice. Pucks get in deep, 2 goals in the first period as a direct result of that. And here, just a little chip into the offensive zone. Good forecheck here by Arcabello as he gets his feet pumping, gets to that puck first, little spinorama. And what a beautiful pass by him to find Joensuu in the slot. Not going to make a mistake from there. 4-1 lead Edmonton on that hard work by Arcabello and that good finish by Joensuu.
And Mark Arcabello continues to add to his rookie lead in assists. He's got 13 on the season. And Joensuu, without a point in 15 games, gets his 2nd goal here. Anton Belov gets the other assist. He's got 5 on the year. So a minute 40 into the second period. The Oilers open up a 4-1 lead. Ryan Jones chips that puck in. He's going to go after it himself. Jones is given a bump there by Gleason. To Lucian. To the middle it goes for Dwyer. Dwyer's got Malhotra with him. Long shot, big rebound. Malhotra going after it, but he was checked by Ferentz. Larson. Pocket pick there by Toulouse. Back to the point. Murphy off the end boards, and not to be fooled was Devan Dubnyk as we get some pushing and shoving in front of the net, including Kevin Westgarth and Luke Gazdic. Vanderspool of Edmonton's Swipe to Free Club Card, behalf of Safeway and General Mills Cheerios. You've won the Lagostina 10-piece stainless steel cookware set. Congratulations, Scott. That's because of Jesse Joensuu.
A lot of good work here done by Mark Arcabello. A little chip in the zone to start things off. Arcabello gets to it first, little spinorama move, and finds Joensuu in the slot. The one-timer beats Ward for a 4-1 lead.
Arcabello with 16 points on the season. He came in tied for 5th among rookies in points.
And you know, for Joensuu, his second goal of the year, second point of the season, and scored in the first game of the year for the Edmonton Oilers and hasn't scored since. So a nice little return for him. Getting back in the lineup after not dressing for the last couple is a healthy scratch. Good way to make your presence felt.
And as we mentioned off the top as well, 11 games missed because of a back injury. One way to get help, you knew he'd light the lamp. Eberle trying.
Good little move there by Eberle to try and go inside, get the shot. You can hear the call up here from Philip Larson, who is looking to pinch down on that play. And one of the things I've really been impressed with is the speed of Larson and how quickly he can jump to a hole. You'll see him on the right side of your screen there thinking about jumping down and getting to that spot, but decides to kind of put the brakes on after he realizes that Eberle's going to try and walk it in himself. And a good stick there by Falk to deny Eberle that shot.
Our best line for the Oilers is out there now, and it's going to be an icing call. As Devan Dubnyk, as we mentioned, his 5th straight start, and he's got the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, in the last 9 games, you look at what Devan Dubnyk has done compared to the previous 9 games played. He's really dialed his game in. And in 6 of his last 8 starts, he's allowed 2 or less goals against. So some pretty good numbers for the Big Easy.
There's plenty of practice. There's 4 goalies on the ice. Richard Bachman's here. Ilya Bryzgalov is here. And, of course, backing up is Jason LaBarbera as Dubnyk comes way out of his net and plays it.
No shortage of targets, that's for sure. I call them targets because I used to hit them all the time.
It's tough to get your work in. I was talking to Richard.
As hard as I tried, I didn't miss many. But that was a good little chance there for Carolina. Good recognition by Devan Dubnyk, the guy we were just talking about, to get out here and get to that puck because it looked like it was going to be a breakaway. And a little pinch here on the blue line, and off to the races the Hurricanes go. And it's Nathan Derby again, who showed a lot of speed in this game, along with Jordan Staal. And Devan Dubnyk wisely goes out and plays that puck.
The Oilers with 1 shot in the second period, but it was a goal by Jesse Joensuu. Dwyer, he'll fire a puck that is blocked by Nick Schultz. The Oilers in the top 10 in blocked shots in the NHL. Justin Schultz trying to get it across the hall, and he does on the second chance, but it's offside.
Canada Post NHL stamps and souvenirs. Available at your local post office or online at canadapost.ca/NHL.
Well, Taylor Hall didn't think that was offside. There had a little conversation. But Darren Gibbs, I believe, as he was skating back, felt that he had left that left leg dragging long enough to nullify the offside. But he's really ratcheted it up, Kevin, as we were talking about before. Now 19 points in his last 16 games since missing those 7 games. Has really come back rejuvenated, focused, and maybe that little tournament we're going to have in February has a little to do with that as well.
Trying to get on the radar for Team Canada.
Yeah.
Sekera
making a case.
And Ruutu tripped up, and he is offside. And, you know, he's his own worst critic. I mean, first 20 games, he only liked 6 of his games.
Yeah, and that's something we've always liked about Taylor Hall is he's not afraid to look at himself in the mirror and recognize things that he has to work on, what he can do better, and has always been very upfront with that and said that, he looked over the 7 games that he missed. He was watching a lot of tapes, watching a lot of hockey, and felt that he could do certain things better. And obviously he's come out and done those things better. And a lot of it was his play away from the puck. Just being that guy in the right position, making sure he was a good option, having a good stick, and most importantly, trying not to turn the puck over as much, which he says is still something that creeps into his game from time to time, just wanting to make that play. He's done pretty good.
Arcabello in a race for it. Arcabello throws towards the net, hit the side of the cage. He had Joensuu there. The Joensuu and Gleason battle as Malhotra trying to get it out. Hemsky, good job to keep it in. Alex Hemsky. Jesse Joensuu and Mark Arcabello putting pressure on now. Here's Joensuu to Arcabello. His shot doesn't make it through the stick of Harrison. Hemsky comes up with it. Alex Hemsky comes back to the point. Philip Larson bobbles, controls, throws it towards the net. Kicked away by Harrison. Andrew Ferentz pinching in. He'll get it to Arcabello. Throws it in behind the net. Oilers able to get a line change in, and Luke Gazdic throws a hit on Tim Gleason. Lander will play it back to Ferentz. 14 minutes, 30 seconds to go in this second period as the puck ends up going into the Carolina bench team.
The Goals for Heroes program is proudly sponsored by Synovus. For every Oilers goal this season, Synovus will donate $400 to Valor Place Military Family Support House. To date, the Oilers have scored 88 goals for a total of $35,200.
Little mix up there by Gazdic. He broke his stick and he was looking for a new one and wasn't getting any respect as he came to the bench, so he wisely jumped in to try and get a fresh body on the ice. And he got himself a new cue and he's back out there to start that shift.
Luke Gazdic has dropped his stick in his gloves 8 times so far this season. Lander stopped by Lindholm. Jones carries on. He'll get it to Gazdic, who used his stick there and got the puck in deep. Ford plays it himself. Down the boards it goes. Hocker and Beloff had hopped over the boards, so late getting there. They've got control now. Beloff quickly up for Gazdic. He'll tip it in, and that'll be the end of the shift for them. Hall is right back out there with Gagne and Yakupov. Potter trying to get away from Kevin Westgarth. Can't do it. Westgarth on the intercept. Steals it from behind the net. He'll control. Give it to Jordan Staal. Back to the point, but unable to keep it in. Here's Sekera. Jordan Staal in pursuit against Beloff. Westgarth in there as well. It's all kinds of line shuffling going now for a Carolina team that is down by 3 goals. They have their 3-game winning streaks last night in Vancouver. A 2-0 defeat. Their 7th loss on the road. Jordan Staal right on. Opportunity for Talusti. A swing and a miss for number 19. Yakupov to Hall. Comes right to Ward. He'll steer it to the corner. Hall first on it. Back to Gagne. He gets checked. Yakupov carrying on, and they're able to control. Here is Gagne. Gagne trying to get around Justin Falk. Talusti away with it for Carolina. He'll go across ice. Ruutu. And Talusti moving in. And Talusti is a little bit anxious. He's offside. Jesse Joensuu celebrates his 2nd goal of the season. As Louis mentioned, he got his first on opening night.
Well, the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Edmonton Oilers, and Rod Brind'Amour, longtime NHL player who now is an assistant coach with the Carolina Hurricanes, had his 18th annual golf tournament this past summer. And yeah, you might recognize the guy standing beside him. That is the Edmonton Oilers' Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who was asked to be involved in the tournament in the past couple of years. Look at them, how comfortable they look there at the microphone. They've helped raise money for cystic fibrosis, but tonight, between Rod and Ryan, there is no Brind'Amour lost between the two.
Nugent-Hopkins winning the battle so far with 12 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the second period. They got the 3rd Oiler goal in the first period at 18-14. On the ice with Eberle and Perron. Andrew Ferentz Off the board for Nugent Hopkins. Too far for him. It was broken up there by Ryan Murphy. Ferentz will try again, this time to Perron. Up the middle for Eberle. Drop pass to Nugent Hopkins. Intercepted by Ruutu, but there is Perron to get it to Eberle. David Perron. Nugent Hopkins is ready. He fires a shot instead, and it was blocked by the veteran Ron Hainsey. Tolusti at center. That's all he can do. Captain will get it to Hainsey. Right up the middle. Yuri Tolusti. Comes that puck in. Ferentz is there. The Carolina Hurricanes make a change. Nugent Hopkins in a race for it against Gleason. He beats him to that. Waits for some help in the form of Ales Hemsky and Jesse Joensuu. Now he'll be able to change up and allow Arcabello to get on the ice. Hemsky gets away from Gleason. Ales Hemsky still has it. Here is Hemsky. Look at him dangle. Drops it back for Schultz, and Schultz is unable to keep it into the point. An opportunity now. Moving in is Skinner. Skinner out in front and just slid wide as Jay Harrison joined the rush. Arcabello knocked that down with a high stick.
Pro Hockey Life, the ultimate hockey megastore.
A Wednesday NBA doubleheader on Sportsnet 1 tips off at 6 p.m. Mountain with the Chicago Bulls visiting the New York Knicks. Then at 8:30 p.m., the Dallas Mavericks continue their West Coast trip as they visit the high-flying Golden State Warriors.
The Oilers, Gene, have been outshot in this period 6-1, but it doesn't seem to matter because they have done the only scoring. Came a minute 40 into the period. There's another shot and handled by the glove of Devin Dubnyk as Kevin Westgarth does a little flyby.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that Edmonton's gotten away from, Kevin, is ensuring that pucks get in deep. We've seen some turnover, and as a result, the transition to Carolina coming back the other way. This is a team that's not going to give up. They're going to push for 60 minutes in this game. They're going to try and claw back into this one, and they have started to generate some high-quality chances.
They win that face-off. Sekera waits for a crowd to form, fires it through, but it hit his teammate, and back the other way comes Yakupov. He almost started, but was backtracked there by this guy, Jordan Staal. Jordan Staal against Corey Potter. Hall comes in to help out. He gets knocked down by Westgarth. Kirby from a sharp angle, stopped by Dubnyk. Belloff behind the net. Lays it off the boards, and Gagne wants to relieve some of that pressure. Can't do it. Kirby's got it. Westgarth's out in front. Throws it out there. Here's an opportunity and a goal by Jordan Staal. And the lead is cut to 4-2.
Well, there you go, and some real solid work down low by Kevin Westgarth, who's been just a bull in a china shop here the last couple of shifts that he's got on the ice. And some big bodies driving around. As you mentioned, Gerby, the little quick guy on the line, doing some good things as well. This puck just gets kept in. Good pinch, good drive behind the net by Gerby, little spinorama. And it's the drive through the middle by Westgarth that opens us up. Off the skate, right to Jordan Staal. And he buries it through the traffic past Devin Dubnyk. So some good work down low below the hash marks for this line. And as you mentioned, a little line shuffling for head coach Kirk Muller to try and generate some offense. And it works.
And Gerby picks up a helper along with Andre Sekera. For Jordan Staal, his 7th goal of the season. He is a 3-time 20-goal scorer. And it's a 4-2 game as we approach the halfway point of the period. Ruutu after it against Ferentz.
And number 4, Andre Sekera.
Nugent Hopkins with Perron. Nugent Hopkins avoids Murphy. Murphy comes back defensively. Eberle in there to help out as well. And Eberle comes up with it. Eberle, nice little move. He goes up high. Ward makes the save. Ruutu to Ryan Murphy. Murphy with speed across the blue line. Snaps a shot. Big rebound. Cleared away by Philip Larson.
We've seen that a couple times from Ryan Murphy in his first year of the National Hockey League. First year of pro hockey, taken 12th overall in 2011. He was a standout for the last 4 years with the Kitchener Rangers. Real speedy offensive defenseman. And a couple of times we've seen him kind of sneak up back door. You don't see teams that often throughout the year. You don't know how they play. And a couple of times Murphy has caught the Oilers sleeping a little bit.
Murphy is tied for 5th among rookie defensemen in points with those 9.
And Mark Arcabello also having a real solid rookie season here with the Edmonton Oilers, as you mentioned, climbing up the charts with every point that he gets.
He's been good in the face-off circle for this team as well. And we asked him about his secret, and he said, well, you know, it's quickness.
Yeah, he says when you're not the biggest guy, you got to kind of try and jab in there with the stick, and he said get that first touch.
And there's a winger win as Joensuu came in to help out, and the Oilers get possession. Hemsky's got Arcabello out in front, and the puck is deflected away before it could get to him. Sekera just inside the blue line. And behind the net it goes. Shots are now even at 16 apiece. It was 14-6 after the first 20 minutes. Long shot by Lindholm gets deflected up into the netting. And we'll take a break. Rogers Oilers Hockey right here on Sportsnet West. By RE/MAX, outstanding agents, outstanding results.
Well, it's the third goal of the game for the Edmonton Oilers. They made it 3-1 at that time back in the first period. Nice little play here by Eberle to find Nugent Hopkins, who on the fly gets it away pretty quickly for his 7th of the year. And by the time this one went into the net, he was down on his knees, followed through pretty aggressively. It was a big goal for the Oilers.
By Nugent Hopkins, 7th of the year. First goal in his last 6 games. The Oilers now with a 4-2 lead. As Jordan Staal has come back to cut the lead in half. Hall reaching back for that puck, took a hit from Jordan Staal and knocked one of the linemen right into the Oiler bench. Jordan Staal after it again. Staal checked by Yakupov, gets it back to Harrison. A weak shot. Doesn't make it through, but the Carolina Hurricanes keep the pressure on. Schultz and Staal battle for that loose puck. Harrison pinching, and Yakupov gets by him. A race now with Tim Gleason. Yakupov, great feed to Gagne. Sam Gagne back to the point. Belloff throws it towards the net. There is Gleason again. He blocked that shot before it could get through. To Cam Ward. Nathan Gerbe on the move. Here comes Gerbe across the line. Gerbe gets stopped before he could get going.
Good job by Corey Potter there, Kevin, to just stand his ground. Nathan Gerbe's been flying in this game, and this is the line that got things going in this period for Carolina with a big goal. Westgarth, Gerbe, and Jordan Staal, the line combination. But Corey Potter just keeps his gap tight. Nice little poke check to break up that rush by Gerbe.
Eric Staal with it now. Staal throws it out in front. Taluski trying to get to it along with Ruutu. Keeping it in is Falk. Checked by Belloff. Eric Staal with it now. Eric Staal against Nugent Hopkins. Nugent Hopkins knocked down the bigger man. A 6'4". Eric Staal hits the deck, but he's got the puck again. He'll come back to Sekera at the point. He works his way in. Puck ends up towards the net. It's kicked aside by Devin Dubnyk. Staal behind the net again by Carolina Hurricanes with a much better second period. Zaluski from the corner. Falk trying to keep it in. It comes back to the point to Ruutu. He'll give it to Falk down low. Eric Staal. Hard to get the puck off and just ask Anton Belloff. He just tries to contain him. The puck comes right back to those two big guys. David Perron, and they're trying to get it loose, and the Oilers finally do. Nugent Hopkins with Eberle. On the blue line. Eberle brings it in. Trying to work it back to the point. It was picked off by Lindholm. His pass for Riley Nash didn't work, and here comes Perron. Perron double teams. He gets the puck to Eberle. Cross ice for Arcabello. Over his stick. Falk is there defensively. Justin Falk leads the rush with under 6 minutes to go. Skinner snaps the shot. Larsson stick in half. So Philip Larsson is without his stick. Hemsky has the puck though, and the Oilers able to get it out. Joensuu checked by Hainsey. Look for Alex Hemsky was broken up by Riley Nash.
See a real different pace here by the Carolina Hurricanes in the second period. As you mentioned, Kevin, just ensuring pucks get in deep. They're working off the cycle aggressively. They have some real big forwards that can work it down low very well, and have spent very minimal time in the defensive zone in this period. So carrying over from that first period, they've started to find their game here, find their legs. They're in Vancouver last night in a 2-0 loss. but have found a way to claw back into this one here.
Dvorak gets it to Dwyer. His shot is blocked. Picked up by Lander. Now Jones. Ryan Jones going wide. Here's Ryan Jones with the backhand. Ward the save. Jones in a bid for his 3rd goal this season.
Good drive wide there and a good backhand on net.
Got the puck again. Drop pass for Lander. Lander shot up high and a glove save by Cam Ward. Rogers Oilers hockey from Rexall Place. We'll be back.
Need a stocking stuffer for your little fan this Christmas? Sign them up for the Oilers Kids Club presented by Save-On Foods for only $10. Fans between the ages 3 and 12 will receive exclusive Kids Club merchandise, a VIP Kids Club membership card for 10% off all regular price merchandise offered through the Oilers store at Kingsway Mall and Rexall Place on game days, and exclusive access to monthly prizes. Register before the end of January and be entered for a chance to win a pizza party with Sam Gagner.
Wow.
Sign up now at EdmontonOilers.com/kidsclub. You two are too old.
Yeah, so are you, Gene. I know how you like pizza. Arcabello in front with a backhand, and Ward makes the save. And then Arcabello and Gleason do a little pushing and shoving, and there's more where that came from. As Joensuus lost his helmet, Harrison and Gleason in there challenging the big Finn.
Yeah, the big man getting a little aggressive in there.
If you're looking for commercial insurance or risk management services, contact us to see what the power of insight can do for you.
Safeway's featured participating product for tonight's hockey game is General Mills Cheerios.
Looks like Harrison and Jones will be the two guys heading to the sin bin here. Nice little move here by Arcabello. Little poke check to lodge the puck loose. Gets his feet moving. Gets the backhand through. And then Gleason comes over. Gives him the business a little bit. And then Jones, who takes a couple shots in the grill from Harrison. You can see a little mark on the nose there. Wasn't too happy about that. The big Finn did some pushing back of his own.
Both guys will sit now for the next 2 minutes for roughing at 15:29. 4-on-4, and that really suits number 4 for the Edmonton Oilers. He's out there with Sam Gagner and his Ferret and Larson on the blue line, and here comes Murphy. Ryan Murphy all the way behind the net. Gerby out there. Jordan Staal's in front. Gerby to the point. Von Hainsey waits for it. Hainsey gets away from Gagner. Hainsey has options in front with Murphy and Jordan Staal, but the other way comes Hall with Gagner. Sam Gagner stops. Here is Gagner moving in. Gagner fires a shot up high on Ward, and then Gagner getting up slowly. And he'll work his way back to the bench. Nugent Hopkins hops over to take the place of Sam Gagner. Hainsey moves in. Hainsey fires a shot that Dubnyk makes the save on. No rebound for Jordan Staal.
Just a little end-to-end action here. And Sam Gagner got rocked a little bit there by Jordan Staal on the back check. As he takes his puck, moves to the middle, shoots, and in that follow-through, just kind of watching his shot, Jordan Staal shoulder to shoulder, just the position that Gagner was in here. So good hard check, shoulder to shoulder, and because you don't see it coming, usually those are the ones that sting you. But for Sam Gagner, tough customer, gets up and made his way to the bench. Looks like he's going to be okay.
Eric Staal keeps it in for Tomo Ruutu. Now there is Anton Belov to strip him of the puck and get it ahead for Nugent Hopkins. Back to Eberle. Nugent Hopkins. He gets checked there from Paul, comes away and gets a shot away, and then he'll go and follow it up to Eberle. Eberle off the boards, intercepted by Ruutu. Eberle, though, fights to get that puck back. Schultz to Eberle. Nugent Hopkins, Justin Schultz right down the middle. Here is Schultz with a shot, and that went off Sekera. Eric Staal back the other way with Skinner driving the net. Eric Staal looking for Skinner, blocked by Belov. Staal carries on. He still has it. Turns, couldn't get a shot away, and the other way comes Hemsky. 2-on-1. Nugent Hopkins is dead tired. Here's Hemsky, toe drag, and then broken up by Sekera.
Wow, what a stick right there. That was a tap-in waiting to happen for Ryan Nugent Hopkins as Hemsky was looking at him the whole way through at the last second. Sekera just spun around and took it away from Nugent Hopkins.
2 assists on the night for number 4. Cam Ward will leave it there for Justin Falk with 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the second period. The Oilers with 21 shots, the Canes with 18. Sekera goes up to Tulowitzki. Yuri Tulowitzki will bring it across the blue line himself. And offside is the call.
Well, as you mentioned, Kevin, for Sekera, he's got 2 assists on the night. So having a real solid game here, a 2-on-1 developing. He gets aggressive on Hemsky, who walks him, but that second effort by Sekera there just to spin the stick around. And at the last second, take that crossing pass away from Ales Hemsky. It would have been tape to tape, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was sniffing backdoor.
He seems to like playing on the road, does Sekera. He's got 18 points on the year. 15 of them have come away from Carolina. Nick Schultz has got Kevin Westgarth all over him. It is Jordan Staal, Kevin Westgarth, and Nate Kirby. Nice move by Potter to Gagne. Hall catching up. Here is Gagne. A move around Murphy. He'll leave it there for Yakupov, then get it right back again. Go cross ice for Hall. Taylor Hall. Checked by Murphy. Kept in at the point, though, by Nick Schultz. Puts that one high off the glass. Corey Potter bounces it towards the cage, and there is Ward to make the save in all kinds of traffic. In the form of Sam Gagne, who had driven the net and gotten piled onto by Ron Hainsey.
Follow the bouncing puck. And good job by Edmonton to stay in the battle and keep hunting this puck down in the offensive zone. This puck bounces towards the net here for Gagne. Just gets a piece of it en route. Good job by Cam Ward to stand his ground, get it into the trapper, and not allow it to drop out.
Nugent-Hopkins lost that draw to Manny Malhotra. But the Oilers get possession, and Nugent-Hopkins has it. Nugent-Hopkins feeds a backhand in front, and it was stopped by Gleason. Losing a face-off to Manny Malhotra is not an uncommon occurrence in the league. Manny Malhotra is second in face-offs, came in at 61.3%, and he is a great story. Many thought that he would not play again in the NHL with that injury to his left eye.
Yeah, no question about it. Last year, pulled out of the lineup by Mike Gillis, and the general manager of the Vancouver Canucks, and for his safety, felt it was best for him not to play, but took the summer to train, get ready, and felt that he could still play at a high level. And the Carolina Hurricanes have benefited from throwing him into their lineup. So one of the best face-off men in the league finds a job.
He signed a contract with Charlotte in the American Hockey League and played his first game for Carolina on November the 1st. And they're going to be hard-pressed to get him out of the lineup in his 17th year in the NHL.
Good to see him back in there. You know, it's always a difficult situation when you have a relationship with a player and an organization like Malhotra did with Vancouver. But, you know, for him, wanted to continue to play, found a spot to play, and both sides are happy now that he decided to.
And he got a nice reception last night in Vancouver.
Absolutely.
Sekera, 2 points, right through the traffic, and a good save by Devin Dubnyk. Skinner turns, his shot is blocked by Ferentz. Getting it again is Nash. Ales Hemsky plays it off the boards, gets it down the ice. 40 seconds left to go in the period as an offside call is made at the Carolina blue line.
Yeah, another little sneaky wrister from Sekera that got through, and a good save by Devin Dubnyk in the last minute of this second period. That would have been a huge goal for Carolina as they've really pushed in this second period and found a way to generate chances, and that one had eyes through traffic.
Eric Staal against Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. The faceoff is won by Eric Staal. Justin Falk. For Staal, he'll tip it in the corner. Getting there first is Larson. Check behind the net. Kirby comes up with it. Kirby back to the point. Sekera makes the slap shot. Now he'll let a wrist shot go, and that one gets deflected wide. David Perron to the middle it goes. And the Oilers work it out. Nugent-Hopkins, 17 seconds left. Jordan Eberle, Perron in front. Drop pass, intercepted by Ruutu. Quickly up to Eric Staal. Staal goes cross ice for Nathan Kirby. Kirby trying to backhand it in. Perron prevented that. Time winding down. Nugent-Hopkins will just see the remaining seconds drift away. But each team scores a goal, and the Oilers have a 4-2 lead after 40 minutes. Don't forget, coming up after the break, Our panel will be in discussion with Commissioner Gary Bettman from the Governor's Meeting in Pebble Beach.
40 minutes of play done in the Alberta capital, and it is Edmonton with 4, Carolina with 2 goals so far this evening. Back in 1995, Rexall Place was then known as the Edmonton Coliseum, and it was here where the 95 NHL entry draft was held. Brian Berard and Wade Redden, top 2 picks. The Oilers going with Steve Kelly, Shane Doan, a popular choice that day on the part of Winnipeg, and Radek Dvorak was chosen. Jerome McGinley coming here in a couple of days. Here's Dvorak back in 95. Look at how young he was. In fact, he still doesn't look too bad. He's aged well over the years. John Chapman, then a member of the Florida Panthers. Brian Murray as well, part of the front office, and wearing a hat as a member of the Florida Panthers was Radek Dvorak. He's worn that hat a couple of times. Dvorak, 1,227 NHL games from 03 to 06. He played with the Edmonton Oilers, 154 with Edmonton. And this guy's like the Energizer Bunny, just keeps going and going and going.
Loves the game, Gene. 59 points in his stay with the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, he just keeps trucking along, doesn't he?
The Oilers with a 4-2 lead as the third period gets underway. They have won 6 times when they have led after 40 minutes. The Carolina Hurricanes have been comeback kids, just as the San Jose Sharks. The Carolina Hurricanes beat the Sharks for the first time this year. When the Sharks had led through 40 minutes, they came into that game 16-0-1 until Carolina handed them to defeat. And that game was last Friday. Larson plays it off the boards. Taylor Hall couldn't catch up to it. Hainsey was there. It's slipped in by Jordan Staal. Hainsey activated, trying to create some offense. He gets tied up there by Nick Schultz. Westgard plays it around the boards. Taylor Hall picks it off. Can't get it by Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy keeps it in. They'll go cross ice to Hainsey. Hainsey with a wrist shot. But a good job to get his stick in the way of that for Nick Schultz. As we take a look at our scoring summaries, brought to you by Worley Parsons Cord. Visit WorleyParsons.com/careers to find out your place on our team.
Well, in that first period, it was all Oilers out shooting the Hurricanes 14-6 in that first period, outscoring them 3-1. Paul Yakupov and Nugent Hopkins with the goal. But in the second period, it was the Hurricanes out shooting Edmonton 14-8. Got on the board Jordan Staal with his 7th of the year to cut the lead to 2, and are right back in this one here with 20 minutes to go.
All these goals for the Oilers even strength, because the Oilers have not had a power play in this game. In fact, we've only seen one penalty called, and Carolina had that in the first period, and Tomo Ruutu scored a power play goal.
It's been a real tame game in that regard. We've seen a few scrums that have happened in front of each goalie, and the one did result in a couple of coincidental penalties, going to Joensuu and Harrison in that second period. But as far as minors being taken, both teams moving their feet, not using their sticks to hook, clutch, and grab. Pretty open.
Carolina 2-3-1 in the second half of back-to-back games this year. They will play 20 sets of back-to-backs. The Oilers have a back-to-back coming home against Boston on Thursday, on the road in Vancouver on Friday. Joensuu behind the net, pushes it to the far side. Here's Arcabello receiving the pass from Alashimsky. He's it back to Nick Schultz at the point. To the middle again. Arcabello tried to chip it back to Justin Schultz. Justin Schultz retreats back in his own zone. He's got Skinner all over it. Alashimsky wants to reset. Hemsky off his stick. Dwyer will chip it in. Schultz takes a look off the boards. Joensuu picks it up. Ryan Jones on the ice now with Anton Lander. Long shot missed on the stick of Lander. There's Jones. And they're ahead of Justin Falk. Lander plays it back to Anton Belov. They'll give it to Luke Gazda. Off the board just a little bit too far for Anton Lander. Perron carries on. Perron moves to the middle. David Perron lets a shot go. Ward the save, and he had Jones all over him.
Nice little drive to the middle. Good movement to the feet here by David Perron. Not to stop skating, but to drive it to the middle it's going to result in one of two things, drawing a penalty or getting a good shot away, and that's exactly what it does. A little pick off by Perron, watch his feet, gets moving to the middle, keeps striding, reaches out, and good job by Ryan Jones in front to screen Ward all over him, as a matter of fact, but Ward somehow comes up with the save and holds on to it.
Taylor Hall from the faceoff. Hall with a shot that gets deflected wide. Harrison on the boards. There's Yakupov to break it up. Beloff trying to keep it in against Kevin Westgarth. Westcott, Jordan Stahl, and Nate Gerby have been put together to try and generate some offense. Westgarth has been doing a lot of the blue-collar stuff.
Yeah, the big resident tough guy for the Carolina Hurricanes, but a real good second period for him. Got really physical in the offensive zone, was a big reason why Carolina scored that goal in the second by Jordan Stahl. So getting a little more ice time. And for Taylor Hall, got things started in this game with his 12th goal of the year. He's been red hot as of late. When you look at the three hot Oilers right now, Hemsky, Hall, and Perron have been the three guys that have really been combining for a lot of the goals. 11 of the last 19 goals scored by the Oilers to be exact in the last 6 games. So that's quite a bit of it.
Oh, and you never know when lines are going to click. I mean, you're looking at this line right now. Barkabello, Joensuu, and Hemsky. And you think, okay, what do they got going? But what they have going is they've been able to generate some offense. Joensuu.
And that's the thing. You can't buy or you can't manufacture chemistry. You know what I mean? Like, it's incredible. You don't know who's going to really click with who or why. But when it does, it's magic.
Larson keeps it in for Joensuu. Let it go, and Arcabello is going to pick it up on the near side. Mark Arcabello back to the point. Unable to keep it in there was Andrew Ference.
I like the fact that Edmonton's gotten back to getting pucks in deep into the offensive zone. They got away from it in the second period, and as a result, they gave the Carolina Hurricanes a little bit of life. And you heard Jesse Joensuu talking with Gene Principe, our own Gene Principe, in between periods about taking that foot off the pedal a little bit and allowing Carolina back into the game. But here's another prime example. Get a puck in deep, establish the forecheck, work it off that cycle. And that's where Edmonton has had a lot of success in this game. 3 of the 4 goals have been scored that way.
Perron on the intercept. David Perron. Double team, gets knocked down. Now it's Dwyer. He'll flip it in. Talusti going after it. Nick Schultz gets there first. Down to Justin Schultz for Eberle. And Jordan Eberle makes his way to center. And there again, Louis, this simple play as he just dumps that puck in.
Yeah, you think it'd be absolutely mandatory if you're an Oiler right now, up by 2 goals in the third period, a team that's played the night before. So their 6th period in 2 days. They can come 200 feet every single time they get the puck, and that's what you would think the game plan is now for the Oilers.
Cotswood Interiors. Everything a furniture store should be. 25 years of inspiring selection, complimentary design service, and quality you can trust.
Shop and swipe your club card at Safeway today. You could be our next lucky winner. Watch future Sportsnet telecasts. You could win a week of unlimited luxury at Dreams Resorts and Spas, courtesy of redtag.ca.
Our future telecast will be the Boston Bruins on Thursday. Stahl with a quick shot, and that was Jordan who let it go. Gleason pinches to keep it in. Hall out there against Radek Dvorak, moves the puck. He gets stopped. Dvorak one more time. Jordan Stahl. And the puck goes up in the air, and there is Devan Dubnyk to calmly go over and make the save.
That was a smart save by Dubnyk there as Jordan Stahl putting into high gear. There's such a long body as well. Him and his brother Eric. Little pump up there as he skates by some of his teammates coming on the ice saying, let's get this thing going here. So he just kind of chopped at it, hoping that it would land in front of Nathan Gerby, who's had a real solid game here tonight for the Hurricanes. But Devan Dubnyk wisely grabs onto that one.
23 shots for the Oilers, 20 shots for the Carolina Hurricanes. Riley Nash against Mark Arcabello. Arcabello has 9-4 in the faceoff circle through 40 minutes. He has been the best man in the dock for the Oilers in this hockey game. Nash. To the near side it comes, and there is Ferris to play it up to Arcabello and get that puck out. Murphy to Nash. He is given a bump by Arcabello. We talked about Arcabello too. He's not afraid to throw a hit.
Not at all.
He came in with over 50, Gino.
Well, Kevin, NFL Thursday Night Football features an AFC West Division matchup as the San Diego Chargers visit the Denver Broncos, who lead the AFC with an 11-2 record. It's Manning versus Rivers, 6 p.m. Mountain, Thursday on Sportsnet West, Pacific East, and Ontario.
That was a heck of a game in Philadelphia. And that snowstorm, 8 inches of snow on the field. Dwyer with the puck now. Dwyer circles, wraparound attempt, stopped by Dubnik. Perron on the near side, and backhanded out, hit it by Justin Falk. Dwyer again, this time stopped by Nugent Hopkins. And Eberle will relieve the pressure and skate it out of danger. Eberle moving in against Sekera. Drops it there for Perron. And high pass intended for Nugent Hopkins didn't work. Yeah, there's an offside call.
Things opening up just a little bit here as the Oilers attacking off the rush, and you can see that the Hurricanes are looking to transition at every single turnover and attack with speed and numbers. Down by 2 in the third period, they're going to look to try and manufacture something off the rush. So for Edmonton again, has to be the effort of getting pucks in deep 200 feet, dropping them in behind the defenseman, establishing a cycle, and making it tough on the opposition.
Murphy shot steered aside. Eberle, back up top it comes. Hainsey takes a look. Bounce that off the stick of Yakupov. He checks his cue to make sure it's still in one piece. Westgard, his shot blocked, but there's Murphy with a blast. Westgard providing the traffic in front. Ferentz hacked at by Nathan Kirby, and a penalty coming up as number 14 got the tripping call. We'll be back with the Oilers' first power play of this game right after this.
Well, Nathan Gerby with an assist already tonight, but now finds himself on the game sheet for a different reason in the penalty box. Kevin and Louis talked about Andrew Ferentz, and he does have a couple of assists tonight, but also the assistance he provides in the Edmonton community, and this is a perfect example of it. Back in the Edmonton Oilers dressing room, there are, well, lots of gifts from Toys R Us, an initiative on the part of Ferentz where he asked a number of players to spend their own money for toys to be distributed to the children at the Stollery Children's Hospital, and a handful of players led by Andrew will do so tomorrow after practice.
Fantastic. Great stuff. Yeah. Kirby's in the penalty box for tripping. The Oilers 4 power play goals in their last 3 games. They go there for the first time against a Carolina team that is 3rd fewest when it comes to penalties taken. Schultz to Gagne. Gagne down low. Here is Hemsky feeding it out in front. Joensuu getting an opportunity on this power play. He will park himself in front. Schultz lets the shot go. Joensuu looking for the rebound, and Ward covers up.
Oh, I like that shot from Schultz right there, knowing that he has a big body and Joensuu in front. And up 4-2, first power play of the game. And for Cam Ward, he hasn't seen the shot of Justin Schultz yet. He can really zing it with the wrister, so not a hard one. Just an accurate one that goes right through, and a good job by Ward to be able to find it through the big body of Joensuu and make that save.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins will go out and take this draw against Eric Stahl. Stahl wins it. Gleason fires it around the boards, and he gets it by Philip Larson. Larson, the only defenseman on this power play unit. Skates it forward. He leads the rush. He'll give it to Nugent-Hopkins. Nugent-Hopkins across the blue line. Stops, gives it to Perron. Perron's got Yakupov, Eberle, and Larson is options. Nugent-Hopkins, here's Larson stopping a shot, and that hit his teammate, Nail Yakupov.
That was a good little half slapper there, too, by Larson.
Stahl with a shot that goes wide, and it comes all the way to Perron. Perron against Talusti. Button hook, lost edge. Puck still comes to Eberle. And he gave it away to Eric Stahl. Eric Stahl moving in shorthanded. Wines fakes the shot. Now he'll let it go and score. Carolina came into the game second in the league in shorthanded goals. They've now got 6. And it's a 5-3, 4-3 game.
This is a prime example of just trying to push the issue a little bit too much for Eberle. Just wants to try and make that pass, keep the pressure on. So one little stumble, Eberle gets this puck, just kind of throws it to the middle, and it's Larson that's pinching down, and he can't get to that puck. What a move by Eric Staal, though, after he picks it off, goes down the ice, fakes the slapper. Boy, I'll tell you what, just absolutely fooled everybody, including Devin Dubnyk, who was way out to cut down the angle, but nice little tuck in there by Staal.
Staal's 8th goal of the year makes it a 1-goal game. The Oilers still with 28 seconds of power play time remaining. Schultz, quick, hard, cross-ice pass for Hamsky. Larson at the point. Larson, Hamsky fires that one-timer and it goes wide. Justin Schultz picks it up on the far side. Hall from the corner. Taylor Hall goes cross-ice from Hamsky, hops over his stick. And that will allow Jordan Staal to get the puck out. Time winding down, the penalty to Nate Kirby. He's up and out of the box. Teams at even strength, but here comes Hamsky. He gets stopped by Ron Hainsey. 11 minutes, 24 seconds to go in regulation time.
That was a big goal by Eric Staal, shorthanded. Obviously making it 4-3 with a lot of time left in the clock, and it's been the Hurricanes that have been chipping away here at the lead of the Edmonton Oilers. And you saw the emotion on Eric Staal's face as he went back to the bench after scoring that goal, trying to pump up his team, his bench, saying, hey, listen, we're right in this one. Let's get it going. And now it's going to be a dogfight for the final 11 minutes here.
Hallock sends it around the boards for Joensuu. Marcabello to Joensuu. Traffic gets center, and it's Riley Nash who chips it back in. Hallock to Corey Potter. Potter gets hammered into the boards, and Corey Potter is hurt as Riley Nash took a run at him. And Corey Potter is just slowly getting to his knees now.
Well, as you mentioned before, the Edmonton draft pick, Kevin, Riley Nash just catches Corey Potter with his head down, and just the way that he hit him, his head kind of crushes into the boards. And TD Forbes immediately was out, so extending to make the play, and it's the shoulder on the back part of the shoulder of Potter by Nash, and just drives him through into the boards. So right there, just, a high hit you don't like to see, and Corey Potter was definitely shaken up afterwards. Head first into the boards, dangerous. You don't like to see it, and I think it's a 5-minute major to Riley Nash, and a game misconduct for that one. I have to agree with that call. Just a young guy trying to be physical, but when you see the numbers and the letters in the back like that, you have to turn away and not make that hit. It'll be a lengthy power play. Looks like Corey Potter is going to be okay.
Corey Potter has gone to the dressing room, and Riley Nash is going to be headed to the dressing room as well as he gets a 5-minute major for boarding. And as Louis mentioned, a game misconduct. Rogers Oilers hockey right here on Sportsnet.
The UEFA Champions League soccer action features 3 matches on Sportsnet tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 p.m. Mountain. AC Milan hosts Ajax on Sportsnet 1. At the same time on Sportsnet West, Pacific East, and Ontario, Arsenal travels to Stadio San Paolo with 60,000 fans to take on Napoli. And on Sportsnet World, Steaua Bucuresti travels to Stamford Bridge to take on Chelsea. How's my European?
Very good, Gene. And the Oilers with a 5-minute power play and an opportunity to put this game away. It'll be just their second power play. Kevin Westgarth is serving the penalty as Riley Nash is out of the game. Hall brings it back to the point, and that's split. Larson and Schultz. Justin Schultz will take the pass from Devin Dubnyk.
Not sure where that pass is going.
Kanye. Cross ice. Larson zips it into the opposite corner. Falk against Falk. Falk backhands the puck down the ice. Sometimes, Louis, when you've got this much time, there's a complacency that works its way into your power play. But with the score of 4-3, and we're halfway through the third period, the Oilers need some urgency to put this game out of reach. Jordan Staal to Dwyer. Traffic in front and deflected over top of the net by Jordan Staal. His brother Eric had a shorthanded goal at 7:47.
A little aggressive there in the penalty kill. That was 3 Hurricanes that jumped up in that rush, and 2 of them driving to the net. So you talk about that complacency, Kevin, and urgency for Edmonton. That should have been a real wake-up call right there with 3:50 left on the power play to get things going here.
Nugent Hopkins brings it in. Nugent Hopkins gets surrounded. Eric Staal trying to fish that puck loose. Everly over to help out. Nugent Hopkins, who gets it back to Beloff. Beloff unable to keep it in against Eric Staal. Ference to Perron. David Perron. He is stopped at the line. An opportunity now for Falk to get it down the ice, and he will when the Bluebirds are out here at Rexall Place. A power play that is ranked 13th in the league. Jesse Johansson, his second opportunity on the man advantage for the Oilers. Under 3 minutes left to go in this 5-minute major. Larson moves to the middle. Yakupov, Arcabello fakes the shot. Being watched by Dwyer, now Gleason. And in a diving effort to get that puck out for Manny Malhotra.
I'm not really sure what they're trying to set up or accomplish here, the Edmonton Oilers right now, but I don't recall a real good shot on net yet in this power play, Kevin. They have to find a way to generate some offense here. Get back to the basics, get a body in front, set it up, tee it up. A little urgency here because whatever they're trying isn't working. And it hasn't for the last few attempts here on their part.
Kirby on the steal. He got a shot, but it was stopped by Dubnyk.
Pretty bad.
Hemsky winds up. He's got Hall with him. Hemsky to Hall. Across the line. Here comes Taylor Hall with a shot. And there's that first shot of the power play. Ward makes the save, and he'll hang on.
It could be contagious. Get a puck to the net. You never know. The next shift, you'll follow it up with another one. Here's that chance I was talking about. 2 Carolina Hurricanes shorthanded. This is down on a 5-minute major. 2 guys driving to the net. And if it wasn't for the shoulder of Devin Dubnyk there after the redirection right off the top of the shoulder, it would have been a tie game. So a very aggressive penalty killing unit looking to tie it up. And Edmonton caught sleeping a little bit there.
Under 2 minutes left to go in the man advantage. Anton Beloff. Ference to Yakupov. Here's Yakupov. He'll chip it in, go after it himself. Ward plays it around the boards. Sekera can't get it by Taylor Hall. Yakupov for Hall. He takes a swing at it. Manny Malhotra plays it off the boards. Beloff keeps it in. Beloff will get it to Ference. Ference steps into a shot. Pad save by Ward. Ference will get another opportunity. Is Beloff letting it go? That hit Talusti and broke his stick. Yuri Talusti without his stick. Back to Hall at the point. Hall waits. Hall goes down low. Quick shot from a sharp angle by Yakupov. Sekera gets double teamed by Gagne and Yakupov, but it ends up on the stick of Falk, and he'll fire it down the ice.
And a nice little move there by Taylor Hall, recognizing that Talusti didn't have a stick, but then after that shot was taken, just getting outnumbered again down the corner, trying to get back the puck and reacquire it. The Carolina Hurricanes have done a great job at outnumbering Edmonton shorthanded here, and that loose puck is up for grabs.
Nugent Hopkins to Everly, and his pass back to the point was picked off by Patrick Dwyer, and Dwyer sends it the length of the ice. Schultz, Justin Schultz. Perron trapped inside his own blue line there by Hainsey. Now it's Nick Schultz to Nugent Hopkins, to Perron off his skate. Hainsey hit on a swivel. Give that puck to Gleason around the boards for Kirby. He fires it to an open wing. Perron, and coming in offside with 8 seconds to go in a 5-minute power play.
Well, a pretty frustrating power play here for Dallas Eakins, and obviously not accomplishing a whole bunch. An opportunity to kind of seal the deal here in this third period. An Oiler takes a hard hit that draws a 5-minute power play, and I don't recall a real high-quality chance for the Edmonton Oilers in the 5-minute power play. So, if anything, 3 shots in the total power play, you're telling me now. So, a little momentum build here by the Carolina Hurricanes. They come back to tie this game up. You can look to that power play as a turning point for sure.
Kevin Westgarth is up The penalty is over, but there's an opportunity for Arcabello, and he almost got it by Ward. Just as the penalty ended, the most dangerous chance for the Oilers turned in by Mark Arcabello. But the score remains 4-3. We'll be back after this. The game review is brought to you by The Brick. Nobody beats The Brick for furniture, mattresses, appliances, and big screen TVs.
Taylor Hall getting off to an early start in this one in 6:19. A goal and assist, 8 points in his last 4 games played. The Carolina Hurricanes have been the better special teams team in this game here. And all 4 goals in the first 21-40 for Edmonton. Since then, it's been all Carolina. And they've clawed themselves to within 1 goal here with 5:38 left in the game.
And it was the Stahl brothers who've got the team back into this game. First Jordan and then the shorthanded Eric. And you saw from the game review, that's where we stand. Skinner on the turnover. Lindholm. Skinner fires it towards the net and he scores. Jeff Skinner has tied the game. It's 4-4.
And just another sloppy play through the neutral zone. And the Carolina Hurricanes have smelt blood here in this third period. I'll tell you what, they just killed off a 5-minute power play. They've crawled back into this one with a shorthanded goal by Eric Stahl. Perfect move on his part. Shorthanded to give them life. And then now 5-on-5. Just outworking Edmonton all over the ice. And it's Skinner that eventually will score this goal as he just kind of fires it towards the net. Little turnaround knuckle puck that finds its way through everybody, and you have to create your breaks, and you got to give credit to the Carolina Hurricanes. They've done just that in this game. They've created everything that they've got, and they've tied this game with just over 5 minutes left.
And Jeff Skinner adds to his team lead in goals. He's now got 10. 14:46, the time of the tying goal. An unassisted marker for Jeff Skinner, so 2 unassisted goals for the Hurricanes. They look for more. David Perron gets it out. Sekera to the middle to Talusti to Jordan Stahl. Jordan Stahl cutting for the net. A backhand hit the side of the net. Now Justin Schultz takes a look. He'll give it to his partner Nick. Nick to Nugent Hopkins. Nugent Hopkins chips it in. And he'll peel off as the Oilers make a change. 28-24. The Oilers lead in shots, but the game is tied at 4. Gerby. He throws it towards the net. Dubnyk makes the save in traffic and holds on. Well, Connected's coming up after the game. Jamie and Caroline will give us a preview right now.
Well, Kevin, as always, we'll have highlights and then post-game reaction from Rexall Place.
Yes, and Jarome Iginla, big night for him. His return to Calgary. That's after the game.
All right, guys, thanks very much. We'll look forward to that. A big night for Jarome Iginla in Calgary. His Boston Bruins will be here on Thursday. Skinner behind the net, stopped by Larson. Opportunity for Malhotra. He's denied. Philip Larson out in the pass for Joensuu. He is stopped there by Murphy. Hainsey hard off the boards, down into Oiler territory. And that will be an icing call against Carolina. Edmonton Oilers, Louis, were 0 for 6 against Calgary on Saturday. They are 0 for 2 so far, including a 5-minute power play.
Yeah, not obviously the finish you'd like to see in the third period. Now they're stuck in a game where the opposition has a whole lot of life after tying this game up on that goal by Jeff Skinner, his 10th of the season. And you're trying to find that life, that momentum, and try and carry you through. So it's a difficult situation to be in here for Edmonton, but the good thing is it's still a tie game and there's still time on the clock.
And good news to see Corey Potter back on the ice after taking that hit from Riley Nash. Nash out of the game. Perron. He and Hainsey battle for the puck, and it is Perron who comes up with it. The Oilers want to make a change. Perron resetting. He'll give it to Corey Potter. To Nick Schultz. He'll go cross ice and a pass too far for David Perron. And he'll come back on the icing. David Perron wanted to get a change on. He won't be able to do it. The Oilers also have already taken a timeout. A big face-off here for Mark Arcabello against Jordan Staal. Just over 3 minutes to go in regulation time, and Arcabello wins that draw. The Oilers, though, turn it over. Sekera right up the middle. He was trying to find Jordan Staal. Fired in by Justin Falk. Joensuu with it now. Joensuu and Arcabello. Fires it in. Sekera waiting for it on the far side. Joensuu prevented that puck from getting out. Patrick Dwyer, and he battled, and now it comes out to center. 2.5 minutes left to go in regulation time. Schultz fires it in. Sekera up there by Arcabello. Dwyer comes back to help out. Gave it away to Arcabello. Back to the point. Here's Andrew Ference stepping into a shot. And that was blocked.
Good block down low, and a nice little dish by Arcabello after retrieving the puck in the corner. Finds Ference with a lot of time to get it through. And again, that puck was there for just a second, Kevin.
Anton Lander, Ryan Jones, and now Jordan Eberle joins them. Jones chips it in against Tim Gleason. Lander in there to help out. Puck comes free. Malhotra will get it to Skinner. Skinner tied the game at 14:46. Jeff Skinner stopped by Justin Schultz. Back to the point it comes. Hainsey waiting for it there. Hainsey around the boards. Tomorutu. Tomorutu to the middle. Here's a shot by Skinner and a great save by Devan Dubnyk. And then Skinner took a stick up high from Jones. Play continues as Skinner goes to the bench. And everybody makes a change.
Everybody makes it pretty tough for Skinner to get back to the bench as well as he has a few words with the referee.
Rutu bumped on the puck there by Ference. Comes out front. And taking it away is Gagne. Sam Gagne to Perron. To Nugent Hopkins. Chips it in. Nugent Hopkins, Gagne, and Perron. Here's Gagne behind the net with less than a minute to go in regulation time. Perron goes down, as does Eric Staal. Nugent Hopkins from his knees. That's spun around, and it's the captain for Carolina who bounces it off the boards to Lusky in a race with Ference. Ference separated him from the puck. And then Larson got it down the ice and took a hard hit from Jordan Staal. Arcabello throwing his weight around as well. Intercepted by Gerby. A bouncing puck in front. Gerby goes after Dwyer with an opportunity. 24 seconds to go. Hainsey chips it back in. Philip Larson. Joensuu to the middle. Opportunity for Arcabello. Time winding down. Here's Arcabello. Drop pass for Joensuu over his stick. Dwyer dumps that puck in, and we are going to overtime.
Well, a little bit of life here shown by Edmonton in the dying minutes here to kind of pick up the game after Carolina with a real strong third period to tie this game and a chance down low to win it in the dying seconds. As everybody crashing into the net, watch the left skate and pad of Devan Dubnyk coming underneath him just to take it away from the goal line, rolling in. So a real good opportunity again, just crashing the net. Carolina trying to look for the winner. But that save right there pushes it to overtime.
Well, the Oilers will go to overtime for the 7th time this year. They are 3-3 so far. And it'll be the 8th time that Carolina will go to extra hockey. They are 2-5 in overtime. And Louis, this is one of those nights where both me and the Edmonton Oilers did not want to play extra hockey.
Yeah, you've done well, bud, to battle through. But you're right. You know, this is a situation where it looked like Edmonton had this game in control. They, as we heard Joensuu talk about in the second intermission, kind of took their foot off the pedal. And as a result, a hungry Carolina team has battled back to tie this one and get at least a point.
And we are seeing the two stars in the NHL this week, the number 1 and the number 2 star, and here is what they've done.
Yeah, both of these guys really starting to find their game nearing the midway point of the season, and both young players, both drafted in 2010. and have always had a little bit of a history with one another and what they've done before, and also tonight, both of them with a goal and assist. So continuing that hot hand, both of them going forward, Skinner and Hall.
Jeff Skinner forced this overtime with a goal unassisted at 14:46. Carolina did all the scoring in the third period. Overtime here at Rexall Place. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins along with Jordan Eberle, Nick Schultz, and Justin Schultz. Gerby, Jordan Staal, Justin Falk, and Andre Sekera. Eberle dumps that puck in, going after it. Nugent-Hopkins from the corner takes a hard hit from Justin Falk, and Nugent-Hopkins is getting up slowly. And the Oilers are going to go to the power play here in overtime.
It's a couple of hits we've seen that have been in awkward positions, and good to see Nugent-Hopkins up right away. Having a few words with Jordan Staal afterwards, but here just slams on the brakes. And for Justin Falk, just trying to pinch him off, gets a little aggressive. That forearm in the numbers is what I think draws obviously the 2 minutes here. Right there, that right arm extends out and pushes him face first into the boards. And that'll be a 2-minute penalty to Falk, who's had a real strong game here for Carolina. Logs a lot of minutes for them and is one of their best penalty killers.
A boarding penalty just 19 seconds into the overtime period. And the Oilers will go on the power play for the third time in this game with an opportunity to put this one away. 4-on-3. Sam Gagner will take the draw. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, good news, he will stay out there. Eberle and Hall will join them. A big face-off. You know Carolina's got their top face-off man in the form of Manny Malhotra against Sam Gagner. From the face-off, the Oilers get control. Big win for Gagner. Nugent-Hopkins works his way in. Nugent-Hopkins back to Gagner. He'll give it to Hall. Taylor Hall down low for Jordan Eberle. Back to Hall. Hall. Eberle. Hall. Gagner and Hall crisscross. Gagner. Hall fires a shot that went off Sekera. Hall able to keep it in at the point. Good retrieval by this man, Nugent-Hopkins. Nugent-Hopkins feeds it across to Eberle, just over his stick. Gagner will give it to Hall. Hall down low for Nugent-Hopkins. He tries to fire it up top. Instead, it goes up into the netting.
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't see too many better passes than the one that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins just threw over to Jordan Eberle. And I think he even handcuffed Eberle here, which isn't that easy to do. Jordan Eberle with some quick hands. I don't think he expected Hopkins to get it through as efficiently as he did, but nice little movement of the puck here. The Oilers set it up, and right here, just a little zing through, and all that's what it was. It was deflected just a little bit by Gleason. That's where his little tip right there is why it went over the stick of Jordan Eberle, so couldn't see that from up here. This little replay showing it there. And good defensive play now that I look at it.
Taylor Hall to the middle for Eberle. Eberle gets surrounded by Hainsey and Eric Staal. And it's Hainsey who's going to go for a skate and try and run some time off the clock. Ron Hainsey plays it off the boards. It's picked up now by Malhotra. Malhotra moving in, shorthanded. Out for Hainsey. And a great save by Devin Dubnyk. Hall back the other way. Taylor Hall flying down the right side. Hall stops up, plays it back to Gagner. Gagner takes a look, gives it to Eberle. Jordan Eberle. Back to Hall. 42 seconds of power play time remaining. Hall feeds it to Gagner. Down low for Eberle. Back to Gagner. Fakes the shot. Look at the side of the net for Eberle. He scores. Jordan Eberle. Overtime winner. And the Oilers pull this one out. Big save by Devin Dubnyk at one end. The Oilers get the winning goal at the other end.
Absolutely right. Devin Dubnyk with a couple huge saves late in this game to keep the Oilers in it after being up an extended period of time. Nice little pad save there. Again, shorthanded. It's Ron Hainsey that jumps up into the rush. And then watch this beautiful passing play here. Gagner down to Nugent-Hopkins. Almost banks it off Eberle. And a great job by Eberle to stay with the puck and put it home for a 5-4 win.
Jordan Eberle gets his 11th goal of the year, and it's the winner in overtime. And the Oilers now are 4-3 in the extra period. Nicole Greer of Stony Plain entered the scoring win, and thanks to the goal by Jordan Eberle, she's won a $250 gift card from Visions Electronics, courtesy of Safeway and General Mills Cheerios. Congratulations. Let's take a look at the play of the game. It's brought to you by Rogers, bringing fans the fastest speeds in more places. Rogers LTE.
Well, we talked about the pressure, Kevin, that Carolina put on at the end of this game to try and go ahead and win it. And it was this save right here. Devin Dubé just staying in the battle. And the way he kind of shoved the leg out here, pushing this one away. That would have been the winner in the dying seconds. But that led to the overtime and the power play goal by Eberle, the winner.
Rogers Oilers Hockey on Sportsnet. Brought to you by Rogers. Live like never before. By Molson Canadian. Die-hard fan and proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers. By Ford. Go further. And by the Rexall family of pharmacies.
Our three-star selection is brought to you by Molson Canadian, die-hard fan and proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers. It was Taylor Hall that got the Edmonton Oilers going this evening. The number 1 star, Andrej Sekera, the number 2 star in the part of the Carolina Hurricanes, and Nail Yakupov, his second 2-point night of the season, is your number 3 star this evening. A reminder, the Edmonton Oilers will wrap up their 5-game homestand on Thursday as they take on Jerome McGinley and the Boston Bruins. And we should also remind you that game will be on Sportsnet Oilers. Start time is 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Well, the Edmonton Oilers looked like they had it going their way basically from the time they came out of the oil derrick, but it was a struggle once Nail Yakupov and Taylor Hall helped Edmonton get out to a 4-1 lead. Full credit to the Hurricanes for coming back, but it was Edmonton in overtime that is victorious. Standing by is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but for now, let's get you back to Connected.